Communities all over the state are debating how to handle proposed data center projects, and now lawmakers in the state capitol have a plan of their own. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Gattoni. Data center proposals have stirred controversy across Michigan, with supporters pointing to economic advantages and detractors concerned about economic and environmental impacts. Sarah Polis has the latest on a slate of new bills from Democrats that would put guardrails on the industry.
Thursday, the data center debate came to the Capitol, where Democratic lawmakers are pushing for accountability and sustainability. I'm Sarah Polis, breaking down what they had to say. Data centers, a bipartisan debate in state government and amongst Michiganders.
All of us have heard from our constituents concerns about data center growth here in the state of Michigan.
Concern that turned into action. Senate Democrats met Thursday to announce 7 new bills that would set restrictions for data centers across the state.
They address regulatory issues that are needed to ensure we have protections for our communities and our people and our environment here in Michigan.
Lawmakers say the bills include key issues residents across the state have brought up, including water use and energy rates.
A company can't build here unless it proves with hard numbers that its project won't raise rates for the rest of us or make the grid less reliable.
Thursday morning, House Speaker Matt Hall said though he hadn't seen the bills yet, he is in support of making changes to the current law to make sure data centers aren't costing taxpayers.
Every deal should have that. And we need to be a lot more collaborative when they come into the communities, too.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer also responded Thursday, saying she was encouraged by the conversations. She said, quote, "Let's keep working together to set an example for the country on data centers, invest in our communities, and build a brighter future." End quote. I spoke with Tim Minotas, the legislative and political director of the Sierra Club Michigan chapter, who tells me these bills are just the beginning.
These bills begin creating the framework needed to protect residents, communities, and our natural resources.
Ultimately, he believes that rules need to be in place to protect every resident in the state of Michigan.
The state needs clear rules before more projects move forward.
Reporting in Lansing, I'm Sarah Polis.